Welcome to Shmu's Views, Torah Observant Judaism. I'm Shmuel ben Shlomi, your host. Today we're going to begin the lessons, the six-part lessons on the journey of the Spirit. We're going to be looking at part one today. Before we get started, though, I would like to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button if you could. Also, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of any new videos once they get posted. And also hit that like button if you could, the thumbs up button. That helps our algorithm get the videos out to other folks as well. We're going to be, like I said, starting our six-part series on Journey of the Spirit. I do have one announcement to make, and that is I'm not going to try to play catch-up like I have been doing with the weekly parshas here on our videos. We're so far behind that by the time, we will never get caught up before it's time to start all over again. So all the weekly parshas are up on our website. We're completely up to date there. So please visit our website, the Shmu's Views Torah Observant Judaism. The link to our website is in the description of this video below. Also, we're going to be doing some other series as well down the road, series about keeping Jews Jewish, and some other programs that I think you might enjoy that hopefully will answer some questions you might have about Judaism, Torah Observant Judaism, and walking in the commandments of God. Another thing before we get started with this particular set of studies, I want to recommend a book to you. It's called Gate to the Heart by Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi. I highly recommend this book. What I'm going to be doing in this six-part lesson on Journey of the Spirit is laying a foundation down for you, kind of the basics of understanding who we are, what our true nature is, and God's purpose for our life. But what Rabbi Schachter Shalomi does is he builds on that foundation with this book. And this is an excellent book. I highly recommend it. You can find it probably on Amazon or any Jewish bookstore. Also, I want to recommend some videos, highly recommend, from Rabbi Manis Friedman. He can be found on YouTube, and he can also, and I'll have his website. He has several, but I'll have his main website linked to in the description below here as well to this video. But he really goes into some very interesting subjects about life after death, the journey of the spirit as well, the journey of the soul, if you will. And so I highly recommend his videos as well. Now, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to open this study with a personal journey. Some people have a difficult time understanding and accepting that there are some people, I don't know why it is so, but there are some people who actually can remember moments from their own birth and even prior to their birth. I happen to be one of those people. There's a lot I don't remember about my life, but there are some things that made such an impact on me that they've stuck with me all of these years. So the opening of this first lesson of the 6 parts is sort of a historical biographical journey, what I've entitled In Another of My Beginnings. And so if you can bear with me for a while and join me on this ride to the past, because except for, a few other odds and ends here and there, it's pretty much the same for everybody. It was about a year before I was conceived in this present body that I stood watch over the forming flesh within the womb of a woman we had chosen to be my birth mother. As I watched this forming globule of flesh, I made a profound decision. I would not, no, I could not become the partaker of this particular coat of clay. There was just something amiss with its development. Something was off. Something that would prevent me from accomplishing the goals I had set for myself on this particular journey of becoming. As I withdrew, the cells began to do likewise. The woman's uterus went into spasm, and the lifeless flesh was miscarried. I did not grieve for the lifeless mass of tissue that was to become my temporary home, but I did grieve for the woman and the pain she experienced as she sensed a great loss within herself. But I stayed my course and patiently waited. This particular man and woman were perfect genetic, emotional, mental, and spiritual matches for the path I had chosen to undertake. And I waited until the right moment for the fulfillment of the plan to begin anew. This would be my last planned trip to this particular plane of existence until the time of Mashiach. And I knew I had a lot to accomplish in the few short years allotted to human beings in a three-dimensional time-space continuum. Therefore, I did not lose heart. In all my journeys in this reality, the one constant that has never changed is the knowledge that HaShem's creation and all of its limitless existences will unfold exactly the way it is supposed to and according to His plan and His will. Then it happened. On the second week of a certain month, a conception took place. I stood guardian over the dividing cells that would become my temporary abode of dust. All went according to plan this time, and at the appointed time, I began to unlock the door of my new home, and one day later was brought forth. Not for the first, but certainly for the last time until the Olam Haba. A human infant taking another set of steps in my own journey to discovering HaShem and all His glorious mysteries of life and Torah. This birth wasn't any easier this time. And I'm fully aware that it is mostly due to my own reluctance to complete it. This is always the hardest part. I keep asking myself, why do I always choose such melodrama to make my grand entrance? I don't ever recall just easing in, and I have chosen not to make this one any easier as well. As I'm watching over this infant that is ready to be born, this body that I will be living in for a countless number of years. On the trip to the hospital, I distinctly remember my father racing to get my mother there. She's in the back of the car, and he is just speeding to get there. We lived in a small country town, and there was no hospital nearby at the time, and so we had to go to the next town, which was several miles away. And I remember him hitting this set of railroad tracks, and I thought to myself, whoa, that was a rough one. If he hits any more of these railroad tracks at that speed, before we get to the hospital, this little clay pot's going to drop out before I've had the opportunity to fully dive in and make it my home. Now, I know that some souls, most souls actually, like to experience the entire transformation from conception to birth. But this time around, I decided to sit it out, but keep my connection alive and just observe until the final climactic moment. This one has been built to my perfect specs, yet I'm still reluctant to fully initiate this contract. I've always been a bit reluctant. We're leaving the glory of God to come down here and live in dust. The one bright spot in all this is once I accomplish the goals I have set for myself, this will be my last trip to what I like to call Wait World, at least until the glorious coming of Mashiach and the fulfillment of Hashem's promise given to all His creation through Moshe and his prophets. Oh boy, here we go. Final decision time. We've arrived. Okay, you can do it. Take the plunge. I hate this part. Bright lights, cold hands. Oh, don't slap me. I'll scream for you. Just don't slap me. And put me down on something warm. Oh my. No matter how many times I've done this, I just can't get used to the cold and the feeling of being pulled down. The weight on me is incredible. Hopefully I'll get used to it quicker this time. Hi, Doc. Now there's a familiar soul. How you doing, old friend? I know you don't realize it now, Doc, but you're one of the reasons I chose now and here for this moment. I wouldn't trust anybody but you for this delicate procedure, my friend. And the next few weeks for us both will be crucial because I've built in one of my exit strategies right here in the beginning. I haven't yet decided if I'm going to take advantage of that option, but if I don't, then old friend, I'm going to need all of your expertise to keep this piece of clay from dissolving away. This little brain is really tired now. I think it's time for me to get some rest. I get the sense that it's been only a few days since my induction, but things are already beginning to get a bit foggy. That is the hardest thing to deal with here in the beginning. That loss of awareness of true self, then spending an entire human existence rediscovering that, which is me in a lifetime of circumstances that are new and strange yet somehow familiar. Do I want to go down this road one more time? Exit point on the horizon. Well, boy, what's it going to be? I think I'll play this one out to its ultimate conclusion. To do so is good for me, it's good for creation, and it's good for Adonai. Anyway, I still have 4 other exit strategies. The only problem is I won't be conscious of them as exit points when they occur, except for number 5, of course. That's kind of a letdown, but hey, that's the contract I wrote. Now that I'm here in this body, I don't quite understand why I did it this way. I can know the first exit point since it will occur very quickly after arriving, and only after becoming aware of 2 through 4 at some point, after they have transpired, passed away, passed unused or used. At this point, I do understand why I will know number 5. It will occur about 40 days prior to its revelation, and simply will make returning home so much easier. Oh well. Once I'm back home, then I'll finally understand why I decided to do it this way this time. For now, here we go. Doctor, baby Shmoo isn't looking good. He's severely jaundiced. I can see that, nurse. There's no way I'm going to lose this one. I will not allow his mother to suffer that kind of loss just a year after her miscarriage. I was feeling so tired and hot. I don't know what that nice man did. Boy, he sure seems familiar. But I certainly do feel better now. The best part is lying here close to this soft and warm person. Her voice is so soft and soothing. Wow, everything is so big. Look at the size of her face and hands. My whole body fits easily in her 2 hands. I feel very secure and safe in them. So begins this particular journey in the life of an eternal spirit who took on the temporary human identity known as Shmuel ben Shlomi. Except for the particulars, it is pretty much the same for all as well. Welcome to humanity again. At the writing of this, making the video now of this, it has been 72 years since the beginning. Old Doc Thurman, my dear friend, has long ago passed through the veil to the other side, as have many other souls that were so vital to the unfolding of this saga. They each played a part in the contract I have made with myself and HaShem, and I, in turn, have fulfilled my part in their contracts. I can no longer enjoy that wonderful presence in the here and now with the person who had what I thought were such huge hands. Those hands that held me with so much comfort, joy, ease, and affection, my mother. Mom is no longer here, and although those hands before her moving on looked a whole lot smaller and more wrinkled, but her heart had enlarged in illumination and spiritual growth. I still miss her physical presence and wisdom in my life, even though I too am now an old man. And what of me? Have I done my part in fulfilling the plan of Adonai for my life while on this journey of the soul? Well, I'm still currently here on the planet, but I did come back for several reasons. As the old adage makes clear, no man is an island. Therefore, many of the reasons I came back was to interact with other living souls that are housed in dust and on their own life journey. With some, we have had things that needed to be worked out in such a way that it could only be accomplished on this plane of existence. While with others, it was just the pure pleasure of sharing a physical touch, a shed tear, or a hearty laugh again in a way that can only be done here on this plane. However, I did come back to accomplish 2 specific goals. One deals exclusively with an area of my being that required a major tune-up before I could feel confident enough not to have to need to ever return in an unresurrected finite clay suit again. That area was religion with a capital R. What is the other goal? Well, that one is just coming into fruition, so maybe I'll address it in a future video. That having been said, I would like to briefly address the importance of goals. Better yet, let me phrase it this way: the eternal importance of goals. Those self-help, financial, and motivational gurus got one thing right. They have latched on to an eternal principle. This principle is actually a divine law. The only problem is that they are so limited in their focus to the materialistically narrow aspects of life. Success is not measured in just amassing a financial fortune, climbing some corporate ladder, or grasping onto fleeting fame. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against anybody making a fortune. James K. Van Fleet said it best. He said, "Now I know that there are other ways of measuring successful achievement, but I also know that a certain amount of financial success is necessary for complete happiness. I have never been convinced that a person can come up with good ideas for successful achievement on an empty stomach. All he can think about is how hungry he is, or how hungry or how cold his wife and children are." End quote. This eternal principle or law can be summed up in one short sentence. Success is the realization and the accomplishment of a set goal or goals. That is why every single soul that is bathed in light chooses to return to a mortal flame and a mortal frame. They leave home and are born over and over again to realize the accomplishment of goals set down for them by themselves and HaShem, and in a binding contract between themselves, other souls, and Adonai. That contract we call the Torah. What or where is home? What I mean by home is not some physical space or afterlife destination. It is that experiential plane of recognition of the reality of our existence as individualized sinners of Adonai, sharing his eternal existence and bringing him glory and exaltation. That is home. And as mortals, we can only do that in the here and now. Beloved, this series will continue in part 2 with an essay called Goal-Oriented Creation. Until then, like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll see you in our next lesson. So until then, shalom.